Hello there, World of Tankers, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, World of Blitz, and in today's video, we are going to be taking a look at the top 3 performing Tier 8s in World of Tanks Blitz. I'm also going to be playing in them, showcasing their capabilities and my opinion on whether or not I think these are good tanks to pick up. So let's start off with the number 3 vehicle, the Sovente Contracaro 64. This is a vehicle I actually really like to play in, and it is an absolute beast, especially judging that it's a tech tree tank. It is probably, in my opinion, the most OP of the tanks we're going to talk about on the top performing vehicles here, as long as you understand its overall playstyle. The Sovente features just shy of 3000 DPM, which alone is crazy. It has 309 millimeters of heat pen, which is enough to butter through anything in front of you. It's got good average damage at 410, 11 degrees of gun depression, a top speed of 38, and it reverses at 15. You know, normally you try to find a downside when it comes to, tanks, but this vehicle doesn't really have a downside. I mean, yeah, it's got pretty poor rear armor, its sides are quite easy to overmatch, and if you do expose the track wheel, people will track you in place. But that's more of just a skill issue of not understanding where to drive and position the vehicle, and not necessarily the tank's fault itself. I think anybody that knows just how to position this vehicle and use its gun depression hiding the lower plate is going to do insanely well. And speaking of the armor, that's the major strength that this vehicle has going for it. Not the gun, not the gun depression, it's the fact that this vehicle's turret is nearly impossible to penetrate while using gun depression, which is kind of ridiculous. Even tier 9s loading gold are going to struggle to cut through this tank. It is probably one of the most robust armor profiles, tier for tier, in the entire game. But there's only one way to find out. Here we are in a pretty solid matchup. Up against us we have a couple tier 8s and a few tier 7s, but not too many tier 7s, so it's kind of just an all tier 8 matchup. We have a T-32 with no camo, so not the most promising thing ever, but I think we should be able to make up for whatever skill we might be missing here, because, I mean, as I said, we're in kind of a crazy vehicle. Now, the lower plate, which is that flat bar on the bottom, is the major weakness. However, as long as you're able to hide the lower plate on this tank, for example, using this little bit of terrain here, you should be completely fine. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to sit right in this spot, get a nice 397 damage shot into the Tiger 2. We just wait here. I seriously would like to see what the enemy team is going to do to me in this position. We have over 3000 DPM, and we're just sitting here, and they don't know what to do. I mean, it's that stupid. The entire enemy team is just, huh? What do I do against this thing? Let's see. Come on, SMV. Aim it. Yep, there you go. There you go. He's already backing off. Anybody else want to try and counter me? I'll wait. I'll watch. As you can see, just sitting here, perfectly hiding our lower plate. Oh, I should have been looking, but it's not like it matters. They're not going to pen me anyway. The only thing I have to worry about at this time is vehicles rolling off to my side. Thankfully, that's not the biggest of issues, because as we can see, their team is not even able to hit me there. Aw, shell went just a little bit too high. We weren't able to hit the CS, but that's okay. In 2 more seconds, we'll have another shell ready. Oh, never mind. He's dead as it is. Okay. Well, come on, IS-2. I'll just drive up, actually. Let me just aim it on your hatch. Thank you for 375 hit points. We have the enemy ISU in front of us as well, which is always going to be a big threat, but not to me. There you go. 700 damage ammo rack. Okay, well, this has been a pretty easy game so far, if I say so. And come on. Thank you. Oh, what am I watching? 2 ammo racks in a row. What the heck? Okay, clearly this tank is having some very stupid luck right now. We got the Swindler right off to the side. Nice 408 roll. And we back up. We're up to 4,200 damage. However, most of that is because of the ammo rack and not necessarily... What? 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 What am I... What? What? Am I losing it, guys? I must be losing it right now. Because we've gotten 3 ammo racks in a row. I must be losing it. There's no way that this is real. Oh, come on, game. Alright, let me move over here. Hopefully the AT-7 doesn't take all the damage, but I guess we'll find out. And chunk, nice, 400 damage shot. Yeah, wargaming. Maybe you should stop ammo racks. I've talked about this in the past, and I know it's like crazy to get 3 ammo racks with 3 different shots and deal 6,000 damage, but at the same time, as I've said many times in the past, I think wargaming is secretly modifying ammo rack values and making it so that you can ammo rack vehicles more common. Because I just got 3 ammo racks in a row. What the heck? And none of those tanks had prior damaged racks. We one-shot the Tiger II, one-shot the ISU, and one-shot the 53 TP. Made no sense. But hey, I will take 6,100 damage. To be fair, even without the ammo racks, I still would have easily dealt at least 4,000 damage, and that was still going to be an incredibly easy win. So you can't really discount the tank's capabilities. The fact that I was able to sit, haul down, and simply hide that lower plate, nothing could pen me in that match. And that is insanely overpowered. This is essentially a vehicle with no weak spots. It's the major reason why I don't like the Minnow line on PC, because you're fighting a tier 10 that has no weak spots. Well, this is essentially a tier 8 version of that in Blitz. It is an insanely overpowered tank, and as long as you know how to drive it properly, it is ridiculous. And we didn't even need our gun depression this game. All we needed apparently was to break 3 people's racks in a row. I don't know what to say. All right, let's move on to the next vehicle. We're gonna hop back over to our stats page here. So that was the Sovente Contra Caro. Now we're going to take a look at the Object 252. This is a Soviet tier 8 heavy, and it is our first premium, but not the only premium we'll be talking about today. The 252 is a vehicle I coincidentally made a video on a couple weeks ago, and it's actually quite a fun tank. It's one of the more enjoyable Soviet heavies in my opinion. It's not super slow, it's got a lot of armor, and actually hits pretty hard with 420 damage per shot. When you pair that with the fact it's got APCR premium instead of heat, making it so that you can cut through track wheels and spaced armor quite a bit easier, also the fact that this tank has really just such a cool design in my opinion. I think it's one of the coolest looking tanks in the game. It's just quite a popular vehicle in general, and it's usually quite cheap. That's something that's really good about the 252. When it comes in the stores, it's probably around 7,000 to 7,500 gold, and it usually comes with, you know, the camo, the everything equipped on it. That's really good, and I'm glad that this is one of the cheaper tanks to get your hands on. On World of Tanks PC, getting your hands on the 252, you're still going to be looking at $50 US, which is crazy. So yeah, definitely would say that the 252 is a good pickup when it does come into stores if it's fairly inexpensive, but we're gonna see how we can do. The big problem with the 252, and really the only downside of this vehicle, is that it features really bad accuracy. It's 0.4 dispersion, which is just awful. Oh, our turret did the glitch there, but yeah, it's just got really bad dispersion. I mean, look at the size of this aiming circle while we are driving. It's pretty dang bad. But we hit hard, and we've got good penetration, and at least with APCR, it means that we can cut through spaced armor if our shell goes off course just a little bit. Anybody here? Well, we do have an IS-3 in the back, and they have an ISU, which is always not very fun to go up against. But, like, look at this thing's aiming time. I'm glad that that even hit, to be completely honest, but we are just going to get up and see if we can get some damage into these tank destroyers. Personally, I hate going up against tank destroyers. I think they are very cringe to fight because of just how much holding potential they have. So if I can shoot that ISU, stop him from doing much, that's really good for us in the long run. But the problem is, yep, they are indeed probably looking at us at this point. Yep, they are. Alright, well, we'll bounce the Ag Panther. Interesting. I don't get what's taking our team so long to push over here, because it's a very easy play, and yet our team is like, duh. Either way, let's aim it on the T-32. Very easy pen, right into the lower plate. And there you go. Man, the amount of time we had to aim in for that. Oh, look at that, another ammo rack. Alright, that's just insane. Yep. I don't understand how that ISU wasn't spotted until then. Come on, reload. I'm not letting this guy go unpunished. Thank God. I hate ISUs. Every fiber of my body, I send towards killing ISUs in Tier 8, because they just feature such a stupid gun. Alright, we're going to get behind the T-32. Not able to HE him at that angle, but that's fine. We'll get a nice 385. Damages Amarak. And, yeah, we're up to 2,000 damage now. This is just classic 252 gameplay here. You just drive, you get shots out, and you win. That's kind of what you do in this tank. So now we're going to aim it on the enemy RAAC. Again, wow. I think that right there was a great example of this tank's accuracy. I cannot believe we managed to miss that shot. I mean, that was literally one of the easiest shots ever, and that missed. Well, there you go. That time we hit the shot. Not awful, I guess. We're not going to deal much more damage this game, but if you expect to deal a lot of damage in Soviet heavies, you're probably not going to be honest. I mean, we did 2,400. We might have been able to deal a little bit more if our shell didn't just flat miss the side of the RAAC, but that's the problem with Soviets. They just have such bad dispersion. So we got a decent amount of damage out. We didn't really need to use our armor, and the ISU's obviously going to butter right through it, so I can't really say much in regards to the 252 in that regard, but it does have super, super good side armor. Very troll, as any of you already know. Its upper plate is super strong as well. The turret's great. It does have weak points on the hatches, but it's only for people that actually know how to take advantage of them. Overall, I love the 252. I just think that it's kind of boring, and at the end of the day, it's just another Soviet heavy. I wouldn't recommend to pick up this tank. I think, like, yeah, it's decent if you want to get it for a cheap gold price tag, but I think the #1 position is a much better choice, and that is the KV-5. The KV-5 is absolutely insane. And look at the win rate increase it has over the 252. It is almost a solid 1% increase. For some reason, a lot of the YouTubers do not realize how strong this tank is. But it is incredible. First of all, it has pretty solid DPM. 2,100 is great for a heavy, especially one that can go at a top speed of 40 and weighs in at 100 tons. The other reason the KV-5 is so insanely good is because Wargaming buffed the armor. For many years, this vehicle was pretty mediocre in the armor department. It was just this big, bulbous vehicle that everybody could shoot. But after Wargaming has buffed the armor, essentially, if you fight tier 7s, they can't pen you anywhere frontally. Some tier 7s can't even pen you on the side with standard ammo. T-49, yeah, that's literally just a free pinata for you to shoot at, because the T-49 can't pen you really anywhere. Even when you fight tier 9s, the armor on this vehicle is surprisingly effective and troll to penetrate. When you pair that with great DPM and a very good penetration value on the heat gun, which got buffed, it's just great. That's why it does so well. I mean, yeah, against tier 9s it's not going to do amazing, but can you name any tier 8s that are going to do super good against tier 9s? I can't. So the KV-5 really isn't out of the ordinary there. But when you get a matchup like this, where you are fighting equal and lower tier opponents, hopefully we're going to be able to just full speed right in there. What do we have up against us? T-77 and a Grave. That's about it. Okay. Well, I ideally would like to go towards medium side, but that's really down to where our team goes as well. Alright, well, I'm going to head right over here. I'm going to ping up the bridge. We'll see if our team goes there. Looks like our silencer is. The problem is the rest of our team appears to be basically AFK. Alright, well, I'm going up the bridge. The KV-5 does not feature a lot of gun depression. I think it's like 6 or 7 degrees. It's not a lot, especially for how tall the tank is, but it doesn't really need gun depression. Let's be honest, this isn't a tank you're going to be working on many ridge lines. What's surprising about it is just how mobile it is. I mean, we're literally climbing up this hill at 20, which is pretty dang good for a vehicle, again, that weighs 100 tons. It's just crazy how fast the KV-5 is, and I think that's the major reason why it does so well, is you've got this super mobile tank for how big it is, 100 tons of weight, which obviously means you can ram like crazy, and a gun with solid DPM. I mean, there's really no downside to this vehicle in most situations you're playing it. So we're just going to move up through mid, and I'm expecting to spot things crossing here. We have seen a destroyed lamppost right there, so that means they have already crossed at least 1 or 2 tanks there. Maybe their whole team. It's kind of hard to tell. We are detected ourselves, but don't know where I was spotted from. Don't know what spotted me. again, it's almost impossible to figure out what's going on here. There you go. We have the enemy SU-152 in front, and because we're so tall, we can just look right over the hill and get a nice 300 damage shell into his tank. Not a bad start at all. Let's aim it on the silencer, and oh well. I'm just gonna go. I don't really see much of anything this enemy SU-152 is going to do to me, so we're just going to aim it on the silencer very quickly. I was going to shoot an HE, but I don't really trust this gun against HE. Yeah, like your AP was going to pen me. And chonk, there you go, 159. That's a little bit of free damage there. People don't realize, but if you like do 150 damage to like 3 tanks with ramming, that's actually going to add up to be quite a bit in total. Oh, got another bounce for 380. That's the T-77 on the enemy team, because that's the only tank with 380 alpha. Well, let's just shoot at the LT again. Doesn't matter if we miss. Doesn't really matter if we hit. We're just going in. This is what the KV-5 does. You just press W and you keep on going. I don't know if we're going to be able to deal too much more damage here. We do have the enemy Gravedigger. There you go. Nice shot into his vehicle. I don't really care about the SU-130, to be honest. Nope, get out of my way. Get out of my way. I'm making my way up the bridge, because there's only 2 full health tanks left. Wow, this enemy team got absolutely folded. I don't even know if we're going to be able to deal much damage. Well, we're going to get a shell into the LT. Nice, 326 slap. And we are going to now push the T-77. Come here, I want to play with you. I'm going to try and track him. However, the shell didn't go exactly where I wanted it to, but yes! Yes, give me a ram! Ah, okay, that was awful. 89, bruh. I was hoping we'd get a little bit more than 89 damage there, but I guess the T-77 is fairly ramming resistant. Either way, he's not bullet resistant, so we get a nice pen into his tank. He's going to back up into the KV-4, who manages to bounce him. Come on, let me ram! Ooh, unfortunate. Either way, this was an incredibly easy steamroll, and it's kind of what the KV-5 feels like the majority of games you play. I mean, yeah, we probably didn't do too much impact in this game, but we still did 2,400 damage. We blocked 1,000, which is a lot, judging that we didn't get really penned at all, and we did top on the team. The KV-5 is just so easy to do well in, because it's got, as I said, a great gun for farming, it's got pen, it's got decent accuracy for a Soviet heavy, which is surprisingly good. I mean, we can see here, it's .36, which isn't the worst. It's got 7 degrees of gun depression, which means you can have some gun depression. It's just an amazing tank. I completely understand why the KV-5 is the #1 performer. The moment this vehicle got buffed, I was like, yeah, it's insane. And it still is. So hopefully you enjoyed today's video. I would definitely recommend to pick this tank up. When it hits the stores, 100% try to pick it up, especially because it's usually fairly cheap. Let me know what you guys think about the KV. I'll see you in the next one, and hopefully enjoy the video. Bye-bye.